In the simmering tropical haze of Indonesia, amidst the staccato rattle of rickshaws and the thrum of crowded marketplaces, a quiet man named Chang, later dubbed Dynamo Jack, began to surface in whispered conversations. He wasn't a politician or a performer, he wasn't a healer in a traditional sense, though many claimed to be healed by him. He was something older, something stranger, a living remnant of an ancient world, where energy, not matter, was the primary force of transformation. He called it Qi, the life force, and, unlike most who merely spoke of it, Chang appeared to control it. The world first met him not through scientists or theologians, but through documentarians Lawrence and Lorne Blair, whose 1987 series Ring of Fire, an Indonesian odyssey, showcased Chang in what would become one of the most discussed paranormal sequences ever captured on film. In a bare room under natural light, Chang sat cross-legged and shirtless. With his hands, he ignited a wad of newspaper, sent pulses of energy into volunteers who recoiled as if shocked, and deflected a BB fired into his palm. No wires, no props, no edits. Just a handheld camera and a series of inexplicable events. He was dubbed Dynamo Jack by the crew, a nickname he reportedly disliked. To Western eyes it was stunning, but to those familiar with Taoist internal alchemy, neigong and qigong, it was a glimpse, albeit rare, of what centuries of disciplined cultivation could yield. In these traditions, qi is not metaphorical. It is tangible. It flows through the meridians of the body and can be harnessed for healing, for power, for transformation. Martial artists train their qi for impact. Monks refine it for longevity and calm. But few claim to project it externally, to use it to influence objects, ignite fire, or shock people. Fewer still can demonstrate it on command. On camera, the footage became iconic. Chang's hands, at first seemingly normal, began to tremble with invisible force. He pressed his fingers to a man's chest, who cried out in shock. With a gesture, he set fire to paper, claiming no chemical aid. And in one slow-motion frame, a BB shot is visibly deflected by what appears to be a bubble of invisible energy. Viewers were awestruck. Skeptics, predictably, were furious. The first wave of criticism was textbook. Magic tricks, sleight of hand, hidden igniters, chemical powders. The paper, they said, was flash paper, a magician's tool that ignites from a small spark. The electric shocks could be theatrical, exaggerated reactions. The BB deflection? A camera trick, perhaps, but to date no analysis has definitively proven deception, and no subsequent footage has duplicated the scene with equal realism under the same unbroken conditions. Chang, meanwhile, never sought fame. He never wrote a book. He never launched a school or workshop. His demonstrations were by request, typically to those he trusted. He claimed to be the last in a lineage of ancient neigong masters, the Mopai sect, a secretive internal school where students spent decades cultivating energy and solitude. He once allowed a student, the American author Costa Danaos, to train with him under strict discipline. Danaos later described grueling physical and meditative routines aimed at building pressure in the dantian, the energetic center below the navel, and cycling it through the meridians. It was not mystical, it was mechanical, deliberate, practical, dangerous even. But then, as quietly as he had arrived, Chang disappeared. In 1997, Lawrence Blair managed to contact Chang once more. After years of silence, the enigmatic master agreed to a second filming. Blair's team brought rudimentary scientific instruments, voltmeters, metal detectors, and random location changes to eliminate the chance of stage setup. What they witnessed was even more dramatic. Chang ignited an LED light by waving his hand near it. He again set fire to paper, this time in a hotel room where he had no control of the environment. And then came the most dramatic moment. He pierced a hard plastic laminated table with a chopstick. The wood splintered, The chopstick sank through. One of the observers, who volunteered to experience the energy directly, bled from the nose afterward. That night, Chang told Blair he had broken a spiritual taboo. His master, he said, had appeared to him, displeased that he had demonstrated sacred power for public entertainment. In Mopai tradition, such displays were not to be shared lightly. Power was not for show. Chang announced that he would retire from public life forever, and he did. Since then, no further footage has emerged, no appearances, no known interviews. Some claim to have seen him privately, still healing, still teaching selectively, but there is no public confirmation. As of this writing, no death certificate exists, no funeral. He is, as far as records show, still alive, but he is gone from the world in every visible sense. His story exists only in that footage, in Danal's writings, and in whispered online forums. Skeptics remain vocal. On Reddit and Magic forums, threads dissect every frame of footage. Theories abound that Chang used batteries hidden on the body, that the BB deflection was fate, that all of it is a long, sophisticated trick. Flash paper remains the most cited explanation for the ignition. Some have tried to duplicate his methods with sleight of hand and theatrics. None have matched the raw, uncut intensity of the original 1987 footage. Yet even among the skeptical, there is a strange reverence. No one has caught him selling a product, no tour dates, no schools, no monetized appearances, no publicity stunts. He vanishes just as easily as he appears. This, for some, makes him more believable. Why trick the world if you gain nothing from it? If anything, he seems burdened by the attention. That alone separates him from many modern charlatans. Within the broader framework of Chinese internal arts, what Chang claimed is theoretically possible. Neigong, distinct from the more publicly known qigong, is about building immense internal pressure through years of breath control, tendon stretching, meditative stillness, and sexual transmutation. Stories of masters healing from distance, moving objects without touching them, or surviving freezing temperatures without clothing are scattered through Eastern literature, but these are rarely recorded and never tested in laboratories. Chang stands alone because he allowed himself to be filmed twice, because the camera and the crew believed what they saw, because despite all the doubters, no definitive proof of deception has been offered. The footage remains open to interpretation, miraculous or mundane, depending on your perspective. In recent years, interest in him has surged again. YouTube videos, TikTok reels, and Instagram compilations edit his footage into short bursts of shock and awe. Yet, the original context, Blair's narration, the deliberate pacing, the cultural sensitivity, gets lost in the viral haze. He becomes a meme, a magic man, a kung fu oddity. But beneath that, for those who look closely, is something else. A man trying, with difficulty, to honour a tradition that demands secrecy in an age of exposure. There are claims, unverified, that Chang was approached by intelligence services, Asian or Western, for his abilities. Some say he refused, some say he disappeared because of pressure, but no documentation exists. If he ever was tested by a government agency, the results remain classified or entirely fabricated by rumour. What remains is this: a man who walked between worlds. Not fully monk, not fully magician. A man who could have become a global sensation, yet chose obscurity. A man whose hands spark controversy as easily as fire. And still the question burns, was it real? No one has answered it. And perhaps in that silence lies the final lesson. No scientific peer-reviewed studies verify John Chang's abilities. The authenticity of the footage remains debated. No one has reproduced his demonstrations under double-blind, laboratory-controlled conditions. Eyewitness accounts affirm the reality of the experience, yet skeptical analyses offer plausible, magical explanations. Flash paper, sleight of hand, chemical props. While Chang's powers align with Taoist internal practices, The claim of external chi projection remains controversial. His disappearance post-1997 supports the sincerity of his beliefs, but leaves no trail for future verification. Dynamo Jack remains a unique enigma in paranormal history, a man whose actions, real or illusory, continue to provoke wonder and debate decades later.